morning, gentlemen of the press. Please let me quickly, straight away, invite to the microphone for a formal welcome and her opening remarks. Co-Senior Pastor Daystar Christian Centre, Pastor Nike Adeyemi. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Good morning, dear friends and members of the media, our esteemed board members, and fellow role models in the Daystar family. It's a joy to welcome you today as we begin celebrating 30 years of God's faithfulness, 3 decades of touching hearts, transforming lives, and raising role models across the world. The story of Daystar is really the story of grace. Grace that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary testimonies. Every changed life you have ever seen connected to Daystar is a chapter of that story. For 30 years, we have witnessed how love and consistent teaching can heal, restore, and awaken a sense of purpose. Our focus has always been on building people. Our focus has always been on building people from the inside out, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Because when you make people, God builds everything else. The strength of this ministry has always been its people, our members, volunteers, partners, and families. We have witnessed people find their identity, discover their purpose, and rise to leadership in their various communities. Every one of them is a shining piece of what we call a mosaic of changed lives. As we celebrate our 30th anniversary, we invite everyone whose life has been touched by Daystar to share their transformation story. These are not just testimonies, they are reminders that the church is not walls, it's people whose lives have been changed by God's word. Every shared story is proof that God is in the business of changing lives. However, transformation doesn't stop at words. It's evident in action. Ministry is not complete without compassion. Over the years, we have seen love expressed through women's empowerment initiatives, education support, community health drives, national building projects, focus on children going back to school in the community, and a whole lot more. For us, faith is not only what we believe and how we live, but how we lift others around us. As we celebrate these 30 years, our hearts are also set on the future. We are committed to raising a new generation of leaders who are whole, value-driven, and equipped for global influence. We see a future where more people carry the light of Christ into every sphere of the society, using compassion as purpose for their tools of impact. This celebration belongs to everyone, our volunteers, members, partners, who have made this vision come alive day after day. And to you, our friends in the media, thank you. Thank you for walking with us through the years and for amplifying our messages of faith, hope, and transformation. We warmly invite you to join us for the 30th anniversary celebrations on November 15th and 16th across our centers and online, because a whole lot of people across the world will not be able to join us in person. So online will be streaming from the Daystar YouTube channel. Let's celebrate not just 30 years, of a church, but 30 years of stories of proof that transformation is contagious, one life at a time. Thank you. And may the grace that started this journey continue to inspire many more stories of faith, hope, and love. Once again, welcome to Daystar, the home of stars and megastars, where role models are raised. God bless you.
Thank you, Dad. I didn't have to ask you to put your hands together, but now that I'm asking, please put your hands together one more time. The theme of the anniversary for Daystar Christian Centre's 30th year in ministry is a mosaic of changed lives. And the theme of our celebration service specifically is the word works wonders. And that has been demonstrated even from the speech that you have heard Pastor Nike read. So what next is new? Find out how this mosaic started from the senior pastor, Daystar Christian Centre, Pastor Sam Adeyemi. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makinde. Good morning, distinguished members of the media, our partners, and all friends of Daystar Christian Centre. Thank you for joining us as we begin the commemorative activities for Daystar's 30th anniversary. 3 decades of transformational ministry, leadership development, and positive influence that have shaped lives around the world. Across the world today, people are searching for meaning, stability, and hope. A World Economic Forum report highlights that faith-based learning and worship experiences improve emotional well-being, personal motivation, and social trust. Communities rooted in faith also report higher levels of mental resilience and civic responsibility. That finding reminds us why God raised a vision like Daystar Christian Centre. And the vision is to raise role models in the society. When this journey began 30 years ago, our nation was weary. It was a turbulent season for our nation. We had elections that had been annulled. There were protests and all that going on. We prayed like never before because our country was teetering on the edge of a cliff. Leadership failures and moral decline had dimmed hope. Yet, in that moment, God planted a vision not just to build a large church, but to build strong people, men and women who would reflect his character, competence, and capacity in everyday life, and be a reference to a needy world. I often think back to where it all began, in a living room in Bariga, Lagos. On the eve of our inaugural service, on the evening of 17th November 1995, about 30 of us gathered to take the communion and to commit the vision to God. We didn't know what lay ahead, but we believed his instruction. Raise men and women who will reflect my character in every sphere of life. And from that small beginning, Daystar has grown into a global movement that touches millions through teachings, leadership training, media, and community impact. Some of those pioneers are still with us today, along with many others who have joined the movement along the way, forming this beautiful mosaic of changed lives, each one a testament to transformation, purpose, and leadership. Our anniversary theme, a mosaic of changed lives, celebrating 30 years of raising role models, captures both gratitude and vision. It reminds us that when you build people, you build the future. Through platforms such as the Daystar Leadership Academy, with an alumni of over 55,000 people, has trained People who have been trained to lead with integrity and excellence across business, government, and non-profit sectors. Through the Daystar Skill Acquisition Program, we've empowered tens of thousands of people also in diverse vocational skills. We also have the Daystar Business Academy, because we did something innovative a little over 20 years ago, teaching 7 a.m. on Sundays, what we called the entrepreneurial class. This class would later be transcribed into a column in the Financial Standard newspaper. It helped people, including university students, to start businesses on a large scale. The products of that class today are multimillionaires and billionaires, entrepreneurs, and they then take the classes now at the Daystar Business Academy, helping to groom new generations of entrepreneurs. Thousands more have been empowered to create value and to impact society. Every changed life adds another piece to this living mosaic of hope and purpose. Looking ahead, we are focusing on preparing a new generation who will make Christ attractive through innovation, integrity, and leadership. The next 30 years will center on digital discipleship, leadership incubation, and global transformation. We are investing in young people, equipping them to merge faith with competence and compassion with creativity. As part of this celebration, we invite you to join us on Saturday, November 15, 2025, for a special anniversary service at 10 a.m. This service will feature Minister Donsin Oyeko and a possible surprise guest speaker. Then on Sunday, November 16, we will hold a special Thanksgiving service across all our centers. It's going to be a day of gratitude, worship, and renewed commitment to God's call. This celebration is also a call to the next generation to lead with values, with courage, and with clarity of purpose. We challenge the younger generation to dream boldly, act with integrity, and to let their light shine in every sphere of life. Because the world is again searching for hope, and God is still looking for men and women who will reflect his character in the midst of it. Finally, as we celebrate 30 years of raising role models, we do so with deep gratitude to the God who called, and to everyone who believed, and to the countless men and women whose stories make up this beautiful mosaic of changed lives. Our vision remains clear: to keep building people, to keep shaping leaders, to keep raising role models who will make Christ attractive through excellence, compassion, and love. This is our story. This is our calling. And by God's grace, our best is yet to come. Thank you again for coming.
After every lecture, the lecturer will say, any question? So I don't know if anyone has questions or comments to make. It's a presser. We've taken so much of your time already. We don't want to take any more than we should. So does anyone have any question? Yes, sir.
Daystar, I know their mission is different from Redeem. So I want to ask, are there 30th anniversary, are there going to be more creation of new branches in Lagos and beyond? But for now, I don't know how many branches there are in Lagos. Can I get the numbers of branches in Lagos?
Okay, thank you. 2?
All right. Pastor, stars don't shine in the day. As far as we know, they shine more in the night. But something must have inspired you to come up with this name, Daystar. But perhaps you want to share it. And then again, you've spoken to governance, religion aspect of it, of course. But you've carved a unique identity for yourself. And then because you do a lot more about teaching, so business and all of that. So do you have a message for entrepreneurs in our country today, given the state of the economy? Is there anything you want to talk about the economy that you think that those who are moving business, doing business, especially the top guys there, that maybe can do to perhaps better our economy? Thank you.
Number 3. Sorry.
Thank you.
Young lady.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Pastor. Congratulations on 30 years anniversary. So over the years, Daystar has championed leadership, governance, and nation building. How do you see the church roles evolving in shaping Nigeria's socio-economic landscape, especially as we enter this new decade of the ministry? And as Nigeria continues to grapple with moral and leadership crisis, what message do you believe the church must amplify in this new season? Thank you.
Thank you. Isha, I want us to know you're a radio presenter. Give it to number 4. Eshe, number 4. Guardian.
Good afternoon, sir. Chris Rekamba is my name from The Guardian. 30 years, Daystar at 30 years. What has been the main challenge of these 30 years? Again, I have another question. There's one thing that is very significant about this church. You are one pastor that has given opportunity to those under your leadership the opportunity to live, more especially when they come to you, that they have a calling, and you have supported them. What informed this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. My question is, I want us to look at the next 30 years. Daystar has trained 50,000 people. What should we look at in the next 30 years? Are we training over 1 million people? Then the second question, I attend third service, I'm a member. And I've seen that third service before used to be just first service, second service, third service. Then it changed to the youth service. And I want us to look at the idea behind this. And are we also planning towards the future? Thank you.
Okay, Pastor, good afternoon. I haven't heard a voice on radio for quite some time, so I would like to ask if Success Power is coming back on radio or television anytime soon. And secondly, I would like to know, how is Daystar working to maximize its media outreach with global outlook of the church? 30 years of celebration.
Thank you. Daniel.
All right, thank you, sir. Somebody's already calling me Mr. Follow-up question.
This is your last follow.
Okay. Thank you so much. Congratulations once again, sir. And my question is on still borders on Nigeria. Maybe you, sir, you may have to give me
you come and
exclusive,
do interview on that one later.
Exclusive interview. We have situation presently where we understand that we have 2 laws in Nigeria that governs us. We have, of course, the one that governs the North, and of course, the penal code and the criminal code. What is your position on this, sir? And what do you think should be done to address this? Because this is one country, we believe we are united, and we should have that sense of unity, even within the understanding of our constitution. That is one. Second one is to my mommy here. Yes, ma. I was very interested, and that's exciting to hear that you had that ministry going to the brothel and visiting. This is 30 years, ma. How many of these women have been converted and want to Christ via those efforts, ma? Thank you so much.
Okay. Last question. After this one, when we are 40 years, you come back.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Adeyemi, ma. My question is to you, ma'am. As a mother of so many, one of the hardest things women face in this generation is raising teenagers in an internet space. What do you think about that, and what are your advice? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Last but not the least. Sorry, last test but not the least test.
Thank you very much, Pastor. My question is centered around the management of the church itself. I want you to tell us, does Daystar have a board? Then, with the new face of Daystar ahead, we know you to not always be in Nigeria, to say. And with this new Daystar ahead, next 30 years and all of that, what's your succession plan? Do you have one? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Every other question, wait until another 10 years. Pastor Sam.
Thank you very much for the brilliant questions. I will try and go as fast as possible. What's Daystar's plan with respect to branches? The basic thing about church or ministry is that it is originated by God. So it has to be God calling you or instructing you to do something. So we started Daystar because God told us to do so. When it came to the issue of branches, we have not been given the instruction to plant branches like that. It's something we've prayed about. But God has times and seasons. So sometimes I say to our people, probably it is the senior pastor after me that will now move the church into that phase. But the one thing I want to be sure that I do is ensure there's a defined culture in such a way that when the branches eventually come, if you see Daystar anywhere, it will be Daystar. The template will be clear. What we have currently in Lagos are satellite centers because of the difficulty that our members have experienced in coming over to our main base. Sometimes parking, traffic, could become really, really tough for people. So we have a center in Lekki. We have one in Ikorodu. We have one in Alimosho. And we have one we have what we call a viewing center in Badagry. So where they just take the video, right, what's coming on YouTube straight from here. And that's what they show over there. That's what we have for now. So if you see us setting up any center, it will be in Lagos. What we do for the rest of the world is online, right? And we paid attention to our online services. We actually set up a church for it, and it has its pastor, right? And they have workers and volunteers for the online church. And it's usually huge. The attendance there is tens of thousands of people, right? What inspired the name Daystar? When we were starting, we were working with another name altogether. And then one day I was driving in Ikeja, and I saw that name. Another church had it already. So I go back home and said to Pastor Nike, they've taken all the names. The name has gone. So we said, let's do a search, an inspired search. So both of us actually sat on our dining table, opened our Bibles, and prayed, and asked God to give us a name. Then we were searching and praying and searching, and then this verse of the Bible just came to me, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. So I quickly opened to it and told her, I can see something here. Whereunto ye do well, that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, till the day dawns, and the day star ariseth in your hearts. 2 Peter 1:19, King James Version. Remember, this was 30 years ago. So the day star there is two words. the day is separate from the star. And I said, this is a creative thing we're doing. So we decided to combine the two to form the unique name of our church. In more recent translations, Daystar, what is translated Daystar there is translated Morning Star. In more recent translations, it refers to one person, Jesus Christ. And it just fits the vision of our church. God called us to raise role models. Our number one role model is Jesus Christ. Do I have a message for entrepreneurs? Since we've been strong with the entrepreneurial message through the years, I'm tempted to share the story of a gentleman that I met in the United States who was a student of University of Lagos, an engineering student. He said he would come from Unilag 7 a.m. on Sundays to attend that entrepreneurial class. He said he was so broke that now he's trying to remember how he found his way to Oregon. He can't even remember. After graduating, he was able to go to Europe to do his master's and then do his PhD in engineering, and then moved to the US, also did MBA, was working with an oil and gas company. Then now he decided to go on business on his own. So now he runs an oil and gas consultancy. And some 4 years ago or so, he bought a construction company, constructs roads and bridges and so on across Texas and all over the US. And he said it was those entrepreneurial classes, the lessons that never left him till now. That's a very inspiring story. What message would we have for entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs play a very unique role in any economy. Very unique role. First, they create jobs. One of the greatest gifts any country can give a citizen is to allow the person to have a job. With that, the person is able to solve many other problems. In an economy like ours, one person that has a job sustains 5 to 10 or to even 15 people sometimes. One person that has a job. So I would say to our entrepreneurs, don't define wealth only in terms of how much money you acquire. Also measure it in terms of how many jobs you create, because that way you will be changing lives. Also, use the money to influence politics. Yes. We fight so hard for survival in our country that finally when you make some considerable money, you just want to sit down quietly and enjoy your money. Too much stress. However, entrepreneurs now know the environment determines how well your business will do. We need to contribute to the quality of the environment, and that comes through contributing to government and how it is run. How do I see the church's role in shaping Nigeria's socio-economic landscape? First, I wrote a book titled Shifts. In the book, what I stated was the greatest influence on the life of anyone comes through what they see and hear consistently over time. Because whatever you see and hear consistently enters your heart and programs you. That's why schools are so powerful. That's why churches are powerful. Week in, week out, people come in, they see and they hear. Churches need to be careful about what we teach and what we preach. Let's make sure it's Bible. Because Jesus said when people know the truth, it is the truth that will set them free. Secondly, education. Educational institutions were started in this country by churches. And they ran schools for almost 50 years before the British government, the colonial government, got involved. I challenge the new generation churches. If you have a small space that you use for children's church, and it stays free all through the week, start a daycare in it. Start a nursery school there. Because education is so powerful, it shapes human lives. And then I will challenge churches, please do vocational training and entrepreneurial training. Vocational training and entrepreneurial training. We experimented with them here. The results have been fantastic. What message should the church have for Nigeria now? Well, they asked Jesus, which is the greatest commandment? He said, love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Not only should we preach it, it needs to get into all aspects of life in our nation. See, I've also spent a bit of time in the United States, and I came to the conclusion they turned love into the law. If there's an accident and there's likely someone that was hurt there, and you arrived there and you left, you could go to jail for it. The law demands for you to stop. Call the emergency services. Assist people until the emergency services arrive before you leave. It's a criminal offense, right? If you have a baby, you just deliver the child. When it's time for you to leave the hospital, they ask you to bring a car with a car seat where you will put that child. A nurse will inspect that car seat to make sure it aligns with the law and it is properly secured before you can go away with your own child. They say that their own laws value the life of the child as much as it values your own. And because the child cannot defend itself, if you carry that child in your hand and the car crashes, the child will fly out of your hand and the child may die. So the law protects the child. The law protects that you must put that child inside that car seat. A nurse must check that the child is secured before you can go away with your own child. That is love, value for human life translated into the law. That's my challenge for Nigeria. It's time for the love to become practical. We are wasting too many lives. And we don't treat one another with excellence. We should. You drive from Lagos to Ibadan Expressway. Thank God now that the road is smooth. Other parts of the country, bad roads. Somebody got the contract. Someone constructed the road. Rainfall once or twice. Potholes show again on the road. It's not good enough. That's not love. That's greed at work. I will challenge the church in Nigeria to promote the love message in all its practical ways. What has been the main challenge for us in the last 30 years? Well, the environment. The environment's been getting harsher and harsher. The environment's been getting more and more difficult for people. In just the last 2 years, see, our church has a budget every month for buying food. We give people raw food. It's the least you can do to help a person survive. What we spend, the budget we spend now in a month, is times 5 of what we were spending 2 years ago. It's been getting more and more difficult, but we will not complain about it. As a church, we will rather see it as an opportunity to add value to people's lives. The release of pastors from our church. What informed releasing pastors with a free mind, praying for them, and supporting them. Remember, our vision is to raise role models. So you can't be raising them and be suppressing them at the same time. When you look at our vision statement, it says, so there's a vision statement to raise role models. Our mission statement, which describes what we do every day, it says to empower you and I to develop. No. To empower you and I to discover, develop, release, and maximize our potential in God. To empower. The key word there is empower. To empower you and I to discover, develop, release, and maximize our potential in God. So everything we do in Daystar must be empowering. Must help people to discover their gifts and talents and help them to maximize those talents. And we found out we can't maximize the whole talent if we keep everybody here. So when we train people, their unique gifts, flourish They say they want to go set up their own churches. We pray for them. It's never easy. Never easy. Because the result for us is a shifting culture. You have to now train a new set altogether. The training you did 20 years ago, right? You have to repeat it again for a new set and repeat it again. However, we realize that's the essence of the church, right? This message has to go all over the world. That's what Jesus said. Go all over the world and make disciples of all nations. And of course, if somebody has served with us 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and the person leaves, obviously some people will go with them, right? So it's been a sacrificial thing to do. And truly, we actually support them with money when they go start their own churches. I remember an older friend, a mentor, warning me when we started, this thing you're doing is dangerous. People would divide the church and carry the members away. I said, well, but that's the vision we have. Let's try and see how it is. Today, we're very happy with the results. To see other churches that came out of ours and to see them doing well and to see that Daystar did not die. We're also doing well. We thank God for that. What should we look out for in the next 30 years? Well, 30 in the Bible is the age of maturity, the age of fulfillment of purpose. When Jesus was 30, that was when he stepped into full manifestation of his ministry. Joseph, in the Bible, he became prime minister at 30, influencing the whole nation. David, at age 30, moved fully into the fulfillment of his assignment as a king. Priests were appointed to work at the age of 30. So for us, Daystar has come to the age of maturity. Expect our role models to make major impact, major shifts in all sectors, not only in this nation, but around the world. The third service. Why did we change it and ask the youth church to run the service? Because we realized organizations have life cycles, like human beings. And if you're not careful, so organizations have the tendency to expire, to die. Our core target in Daystar, we created a persona, and we listed the qualities, characteristics of the person, about 13 or 14 of them. The male version is called Lagos Andy. The female version, Lagos Angie. We put the age range at 16 to 34. So some few years ago, we talked to ourselves on the management team. We asked, how many people here are still within the range of 16 to 34? Maybe we had 2. I said, there's a problem. The people that own the church, they're not here. When we created the persona, 1999, that was 26 years ago. Pastor Nike was Lagos Angie. I was Lagos Andy. You did not need to tell us their needs. Their needs were our needs. We addressed those needs with passion. That's why we were teaching entrepreneurship 7 a.m. on Sunday morning. I said, but in every sphere now, we have left Andy level and Angie level. Age range, we're not there. Social status, we're not there. Financial status, we're not there anymore. I said there's a connection, disconnection that is going on, disconnection. And we may just find that we're not attracting young people anymore. So that's when we decided, Lagos Andy and Angie must be on this table. In fact, the people in our pastoral team now began to tease Pastor Nike and myself. So they said, she is now Mama Angie, and me, I am Papa Andy. That's why we said we must be intentional. So we did a pastoral recruitment, and we brought Andys into the pastorate so that they are on the table when we are making decisions. Then we asked our youth church, the Star Hub, to run the third service. I was appointed a youth pastor when I was 22. I was posted to this city to pastor the branch of a church at 24, all the way from Kwara State. I said, and that was 35 years ago, nobody can convince me that young people are not capable to lead, especially with all the information and resources at their disposal now. That's what we are doing in Daystar. In the next 30 years, our focus is also on the youth. Is Success Power coming back on radio and TV? Radio, yes, in some parts of the country. Because in some parts of the country, radio is still stronger than social media. We've moved on to leveraging social media now for some years. But we're bringing Success Power back, and we're bringing it back in not only in English, but also in local languages. How is Daystar maximizing our local media outreach? Most of our work now is online. But when we have special events like this, we leverage all the media platforms. I think my last question is the fact that we have two sets of laws in our country. There's a penal code, the criminal code. So how does Nigeria manage it, in order to create development? And we say, we won't be the first country, right, that has diverse cultures. We won't be the first, and we'll probably not be the last. And what we need to do is have a vision that is big enough to allow each part of the country to develop with their own peculiarities. It's so important. This is the only way we can live together. The values are different from culture to culture. And we did an experiment. The founding fathers of the country did an experiment when we had the regions, and we were having development, right, in different regions. There was some bit of competition. So it does seem like that's what we will have to do. Just allow different parts of the country to be able to develop. The one thing that must unite the country, though, is the country needs to develop. That vision must be there. And then we've got to have the flexibility to allow different parts of the country to evolve with their peculiarities. Thank you. Pastor Nike.
Right, thank you. The first question says, have the girls that you have reached out to over the years been converted to Christ, right? Yes. I mean, in reaching out to them, first of all, it was more of just showing concern for their situation, letting them know that this work or so-called lifestyle is unhealthy. And then it boiled down to poverty, it boiled down to abusive backgrounds, it boiled down to someone not caring or watching over them enough. And that's why a home was set up for them. They're encouraged to learn skills, training, and of course, from the place of faith, it is presented to them. And many of them indeed gave their lives to Christ. They were not pressured to give their life to Christ, but they saw the value behind what one was doing for them. And some gave their lives to Christ immediately, some gave their lives to Christ over time. And funny enough, there wasn't really any discrimination. So it wasn't, you have to give your life to Christ and I'll help you. No. Somewhere along the line, they saw the love and they also imbibed, that culture. And we've helped, I don't know, I've lost count, maybe about 120 at least, girls that have been helped to have a solid footing and to go on and do great things for themselves as well. So it wasn't just a fleeting thing, it was you see them through all the way until they are reintegrated back in the society. Yeah. Then the question on teenagers, how do you raise teenagers in the social media space? Yeah, in an internet age. First of all, as mothers, as parents, as uncles and aunties, as adults, because I always say that everyone is a stakeholder in the life of teenagers, children and teenagers, whether you have a child or not. Be concerned. Let their concern be your concern. You know, because we used to say it takes a village to raise a child. So I keep telling people that we should still have that mentality. So it can be very daunting because you look at teenagers today, children today, and you realize that you didn't have half of what they are up against, right? And so many of us want to train them or raise them the way we were raised. And we cannot 100% do that. We can give them the same values, but we have to be open and we have to be flexible. We have to love them unconditionally. And we have to be willing to communicate with them and validate them up front. Because if they don't trust you, if they don't trust us, you won't even know what is happening. It is slangs, abbreviations that they'll be using to speak over your head to themselves. So in the social media, if we are not in the know, some of us are not in the social media space because we think that we're too old or it's too late for us. It is not. We're supposed to be in the social media space. At least have a handle on one of the platforms. You may not have Snapchat, but have Instagram. Let somebody help you open it. Don't say, what is all this thing they are doing? This is just social media. No. If you can't win them, join them. That's not in the Bible. But the mentality is get inside what they're doing. All these are, in my time, if your parents even catch you doing anything, there was no social media, then they would throw slippers. They will enter, they say, we are going to wear the same trouser. That mentality cannot work. Wearing same trouser with them means in a loving way, get into that online space. Let them show you how to open an account. And if you don't have that relation, if they cannot show you, get it done. Pay to have someone help you. And then just tell your teenager that, I'm following you. Where? Some of them don't want to hear that. Some of them are like, okay, that's nice. Some of them, that's when they will change their page to private. But you have already entered. They leave Facebook for Snapchat. You follow them there. For me, it shouldn't be in a battle mode. That what? I will follow you. You enter Snapchat, I will open Snapchat. I will enter. No. Then they will know that you have an agenda and it's not real. Come, I'm interested in this thing. One thing I say about adults, whether you are parents of these teenagers or not, is that you have to humble yourself. This thing comes with humility. Let your shoulder come down. Don't say, see my life, so I'll not be begging my child. That's the way you look at it. Because you remember that your mother did not beg you for anything. They will be wrong and they will still punish you on top. They found it hard to say sorry. I always tell people now, have you eaten? It's not sorry. Because some of us, you've offended your child. You are not, at that moment, it's not you to say sorry, but to say that sorry, just say, have you eaten? They know that have you eaten is not sorry. They know you are struggling to say this sorry. But you are thinking at my level, I will not be saying sorry to a 13-year-old. That's where you will remain. And it does not help us moving forward. We've got to be very humble. Jesus Christ came down to the level of sinners, of children. So if you have even termed them as sinners, many of us don't like it. We feel that teenage age. It's like, let's just keep that age and join. We've tagged them somehow. Some of us have relegated them to those who he oversees our Star Hub, the younger people and all that. We've relegated them. That's Uncle Bolu's work. No. Learn the work too. We cannot do it. We can all do it together. Learn it a little bit. Look, many children will see when you're even trying. They'll tell their friends or their fellow siblings, she's doing like she has opened an account. They will be, if you... well, because I've raised 3 amazing children between the ages of 30 and 23, to the glory of God, yeah. The youngest is the one that's still closer to the teenage age, so I learned a lot from her. I think she's in a different generation from my firstborn. So having the chance to birth that younger one, I really could have time. And by then I'd been genuinely involved in caring. I don't not just care for women. I genuinely care about children and young people. If you care about children, then you have to continue to care about them. When you are relaxed and you have no airs and you're authentic, they will gravitate towards you. They will want to be your friend. So in Daystar here, they are not afraid of Pastor Sam. They are not afraid of me. From afar, they be calling me. They say, I've missed you. I say, how do you even know me? You are carrying. So we attract. If we are not angry and not fearful, many of us are afraid. You see one, you've processed it 10 times. You see something with your son or with your child, you say, you have started. What is this? That's how you are. Are you sleeping with men? Because that's what our parents did to us. So we don't trust them, and they can see we don't trust them. But what they don't know is that we're afraid. We're afraid of their future, and it's showing. We also have peer pressure as adults. We say they are the ones that we have peer pressure because you're afraid of what your friend will say. If your teenage child says, you want to be a footballer, you're already afraid. You're already thinking, my life. My mates will pity me. My mates will say, so this is what you know, we're already just thinking is on what will society say. And teenage age is not even half time yet. And we've already concluded that is it. They are passing through. And we have to pass through with them. So when they come out on the other side, even they themselves will apologize. When they're adults and they see that life is, they will come back and, how are you even able to bear me? Manage me. Then you will tell them the pain you two went through. That's the time to talk. And they will now really celebrate you. But you see, in that going through time, it doesn't matter whether the face cap is worn this way or is worn the other way. It doesn't matter whether the hair is grown long or it is cut. All those things are outward things that we parents will major on the minors. So if your teenager son now wants to pierce his ear and everything, to calm down. Don't shout. Don't say, is it all this thing you're seeing on social media in America because they're piercing it? This is not allowed. This is just question he asked you. You have gone to town. The next thing they won't be able to bring to you, because since you couldn't handle that, from there on, everything is coded and secrecy. You are blocked. You are blocked on social media. You are blocked in real life. Your conversation will just be down. Have you eaten? This is your food. How was school? Fine. Yes, no. And you want to know more. You just want that. Because since you could not handle small kind of, how will they tell you the bigger things? How will your teenage son say you have girlfriend? They don't want to buy you now. They don't want you to, say your teenage son have girlfriend. In your mind you say Mugbe, but in your face you just be like, okay. How is she beautiful? You have to learn it. Then you are flowing. Then they will tell you more until the time you can now say, okay, but do you even need girlfriend at this point? Then they realize, it's true, it has even been a distraction to my studies, Jerry. How far is that your grace? We are broken up. In your mind, you say, thank you, Lord. But you don't come with fight. At your age. At your age. See your life. See your life. They're thinking, see my life. Then they tell their siblings. And if they don't have siblings, they tell their friends in school. And some of those friends may be bad ringleaders. The kind ones will say, look, be patient with your mom. That's how my mom too is, But the bad one will say what? Cut her off. But you want to be their friend. You want to be their friend. So you ask God for grace. And say, help me, Lord. It's a different world. It's a different generation. online generation, social media generation. How do I help? So you enter the social media, you use the same slang. They're thinking, this baby, don't, if your child called you babe, suck it in like that. Don't shout. Say, is it me you're calling babe? Am I your mate? Do you get? Don't just, yes, be their friend. When you're the, although there's still rules that you are still the parent, then they can warm their hearts to you. And you can have deeper conversations, right, Pastor Bolu? It's about conversations, it's about communicating. They will not say, my dad is Sabio. He say, are you sure? He say, at least he's trying. When they see you are making effort, right, they'll meet you at your level. It doesn't mean they still can't be punished. It doesn't mean there still will not be rules. There can be rules that until you are 16, no phone. That will be very difficult. I remember and you can get away with your child having a phone, but you can also say, by 8 p.m., no social media. And there are parental tools. There are things inside that they can actually be blocked off. You can link their phone to your own. One is 8 o'clock, they just want they can't browse again. There is no internet, there is no data anywhere. They put the phone down and sleep now. So there are tricks and there are creative ways to these things. But by all means, let's try our best, to meet them in that space, to communicate with them, to let them know it's for their good. I'll round up with this. My youngest daughter was 23 today. When she turned 10, when she was turning 10, she said she wanted a phone. I said, phone? She said, yes. My friend one of her friends turned 10, and this was primary 5 or primary 6, that turned 10 some months before her, said that her parents gave her iPhone. Even iPhone at 10. There are schools and there are schools, but it's okay, let's not bash the schools. You want a good school where there are wealthy people, you see all kinds, right? So it's not about the school. The child didn't bring phone to the school, but the child was given a phone for the birthday. As a pastor, or a pastor, I could say, and I don't go this way, I could have said, where is it in the Bible? You cannot, you cannot have phone. God did it. The child will ask you, show me where it is in the Bible that a child should not have phone at 10. And there's nowhere like that. So sometimes I won't open the Bible sometimes and say, you know what I said to her? I said that in the Sam Adeyemi family, because I first said you cannot have a phone. And what gift will you go and think of something else that you want that you can afford? But in the Sam Adeyemi family, we don't do phones at 10. Then she reminded me about her older sister. Maybe she was 13, went on an excursion from school. We just bought her one phone then. And there were no smartphones then to hold for the excursion. That my older child did not use the phone. We could not even leave because she was very bad with phone habits. You know her, introverted. She didn't want. She was now arguing me. I said, but that was 13, and that's because she was going on an excursion, and we collected the phone back. So that argument, they did not win. Then I said, in the Sam Adeyemi family, we don't do phone at. What is your name? She said, what is your surname? Your friend's name? Do you want to join their family? No, mommy, no. End of discussion. I didn't bash that family. I didn't go and meet the parent while you buy your phone for your... Maybe that child can handle it. And they have their reasons. But in this family, we don't. So if you want to remain in this family, or you want to join that family, end of discussion. And then the conversation came again later at 15 or whatever. So have your own rules and your values. And that's how you will communicate it in the most authentic way. We will not lose them.
Thank you very much.
Jesus' name.
Thank you. I skipped 2 questions.
Okay.
Can I quickly add?
Yes, sir.
Does Daystar have a board? Yes, it has 2. It has a board of trustees, and it has always had from scratch. So we've had a board of trustees for 30 years. They are responsible to government. They handle governance and finances, right? Governance generally. So we also have a management board that includes all the pastors and the heads of our various departments, head of finance, head of IT, head of HR and admin, and so on. So we have that management board that does the day-to-day operations of the church. So management board, that's where we create our policies. Daystar runs a complex and at the same time efficient system. So we are multifaceted. We have so many departments, so many angles to our job. But because we have our organizational charts and so on, the management board creates policies. We pass the policies to the board of trustees. Once board of trustees approves, it becomes law in our church. Every year, we have strategic objectives. It comes from the management team. And then we pass it to the board of trustees. We use those objectives, usually 4 or 5 for each year, to shape the budget, the programs and the budget for the year. We pass the budget to the board of trustees. Board of trustees approves. The budget becomes law, right? So, yes, Daystar runs with boards, and we subordinate ourselves to that board, right? To the board of trustees, especially, and to the board. Sometimes somebody would approach me with an idea, an opportunity. You are the founder, and whatever. Let's do this. I'll say, well, can you put it in writing? I'll take it to the management board. Management board discusses it. We agree on what to do. Then we take it to board of trustees. Then it becomes law. But if it's just something that has to do with operations, management team can decide on that, and we execute. So I don't do things arbitrarily like that. I submit myself to the boards and the decisions of the boards. Do we have a succession plan? Yes, we have a simple one in our constitution that's been there for many years. The senior pastor will recommend his successor to the board of trustees. Board of trustees will approve to be executed. However, God forbid, if senior pastor exits without having appointed a successor, then board of trustees will look at the people that are qualified and make a decision. However, we approach succession planning a bit differently in Daystar. Our focus is not only on the senior pastor's role. Succession in Daystar happens at all levels. We have our eyes all the time on what we call critical roles. Sometimes it may not be the senior pastor. It may be one role there that you think is not significant. If someone exits and there's nobody to replace, our work can be hurt in a significant way. So for those critical roles, we want to make sure we always have 1 or 2 or 3 people that can do the same thing in the case someone exits. As senior pastor, for example, in my own mind, I always want to make sure we have 4 or 5 people that can run the church. In the event that something happens and takes out a good number of those of us at the top, I want to be sure that the first 4 or 5 people in our pastoral hierarchy can run the whole church. So succession planning is something we do for all levels in our church. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause.